Welcome to the video. I'm CuddlyJay, and today we shall be looking at 7 differences between Battlefront 1 from 2004 and Battlefront 2 from 2005 that you might not know about. These are the original games of the Battlefront series, so this was an exciting video to create. Some of these might actually surprise you. So let's begin. Now, for the first difference that we have to discuss is the graphical difference between the two with the details. You might think Battlefront 2 would be better graphically as it came out a year later than Battlefront 1, but if we compare the two, you soon find out that's not the correct answer at all. Personally, I always thought Battlefront 1 looked better, especially in the Hoth level. Even Luke Skywalker looks way cooler in the original Hoth compared to the Battle 2 version of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, Battlefront 2 Classic isn't a bad game, but I did want to point out these differences between the graphics as they actually surprised me. Some think this was due to the rush of getting Battlefront 2 out of the door while they had more time on Battlefront 1, which would make sense. This was also the reason Battlefront 2 had some cut content due to this. Now let me know in the comments below which game you think looks better. I just remember, especially when I was a young boy, a young lad, I always thought Battlefront 1 just looked a bit better than Battlefront 2. As we just discussed the Hoth map, let's discuss the spawns on this map as well. These were exactly the same maps for both games, down to the vehicles used and spawns used as well. Personally, I still think the first game, though, looks better for this specific map, but you might notice in the first game, they give us all these spawns, and in my opinion, this is similar to the movies in a way. It just makes sense that the Empire is just beginning their attack on this Hoth base, but for Battlefront 2, they found this to be a bit unbalanced for the Empire, so they gave the Empire another spawn location further up the map to try and balance it a bit more for both sides. What do you think about this? Personally, for me, for immersive reasons, I prefer the first one on Battlefront over the second game, but I think this is just down to opinions, and I think it's a little more lore friendly in Battlefront 1. As you know, you're sitting there waiting for the Empire to attack, and then you see them across the ice and snow, and you start shooting them. I don't know, I just find it more immersive. Cool thing about this base was there was actually a system of tunnels that led through to the defense shield generator of the good old rebels. And I always loved this when I was a kid because I would, go on this, capture as the Empire, and we would have fights in this tunnel, and it was just a lot of great fun. But if we go over to the Battlefront 2 version of this game, the base is still there, but the Empire start at this base, and the tunnels that were previously there in Battlefront 1 are now blocked, removing that entire part of the gameplay. And honestly, I think it's ruined the map in a way for me for Battlefront 2. I just enjoyed Battlefront 1's map design a lot more, just because of that tunnel and the rebels started there, and maybe they did this to, balance the Hoth planet map gameplay, but overall I feel like it was just a bad change. I don't think it was good at all. Let me know in the comments what you think about this change. I personally just prefer the first one. I think it was a lot more fun, especially for both sides, as it doesn't need to be balanced. It's just for fun, and I think that's something that some games sadly miss these days. So another thing that they changed about the Hoth map, by the way, is the rebel base. If you go through the tunnels on the top here, there's actually a command post where you can capture this point. It's very cool. It looks very cool in Battlefront 1, as you can see. But in Battlefront 2, this command post was removed. I'm not too sure why, like the actual command post there, but the actual capture point is what I mean, it was removed. So I am wondering, is that another balancing issue? They were like, you know what, we'll remove this to make it a bit easier for people in the game, in multiplayer. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's just to do with balancing, or they just wanted to change it up a bit and change it so it was different from their first game. Now let's talk about the difference in vehicle views. If we go into the original Battlefront game and go into any vehicle or turret they will have a cool first-person view. It's really cool, and in my opinion, it adds to the immersion of the Star Wars game. I think having first-person views for your vehicles in Star Wars games just adds a lot of immersion and just helps with that Star Wars feeling of being in the Star Wars universe. Now, in the Battlefront 2 version of the game, they actually removed all first-person driver views from the vehicles and turrets, which I honestly don't prefer. I think having the views from the original just looks superior and is more immersive, but that's my own opinion. So let me know in the comments below which one you personally prefer yourself. Do you prefer the Battlefront 1 with the driver view models in the first person, or do you prefer Battlefront 2 with the first-person view models removed? I do believe these were cut, by the way, from the game due to time restraints. Let's head over to Jabba's palace for both Battlefront games. First, we'll start off with the original Battlefront. I will go to the Rancor pit, and I will allow the Rancor to grab me, and while I'm dying, I will pause and hit respawn. Let's see if anything happens. As you can see, nothing has happened, and if we go back to the location, nothing's going on. Now we will go to the Battlefront 2 game, and let's do the exact same thing and see what happens. Yes, that's right. This is a bug, and that is a bunch of health and ammunition packs and so forth spawning in a cluster in the Battlefront 2 version of the game. It's funny how this is in the second version of the game and not the original version of the game, which is just kind of funny. But I wonder if this was another issue, a little bug that got by just because they had less time to develop the game and they needed it to get out the door. Also, the way this bug works is when the Rancor eats you, it thinks it's killing you, but when you hit the respawn button from the menu, it doesn't understand you died, so it constantly kills you over and over with the respawn on the Rancor, and so that is why a bunch of, health and ammo packs will spawn into the ground. I hope my explanation makes sense. Alright, so now we're going to go over to the Droidekas in both games, and we're going to go over to the Battlefront 2 version of the game first, and if you're rolling around as you do as a Droideka and hit the jump button, you'll actually do a little bunny hop, and it feels fantastic. I remember when I was a young lad, I would always bunny hop around the maps because it was just fun going at super speeds and just doing this little bunny hop. It was just a lot of fun. But if we go back to the original Battlefront game, the first one, this doesn't exist. And I'll be honest, it's a missed opportunity. I think it would have added even more playability into the first game and made it even more fun. But hey, it's in the second Battlefront game, so I'll take it. Now for this one, the newest Star Wars Battlefront collection fixes this issue, but for the PC ports of Battlefront 1 from 2004 and Battlefront 2 from 2005, this was never officially done. The Xbox version of the game had downloadable content for Battlefront 2 that added Cloud City, Yavin Arena, Renvar Harbor, and Renvar Citadel maps to the game. This downloadable content also adds the newer Jedi and Sith for heroes and villains called Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress. Now, the PC versions of Battlefront 2 never got this until the most recent release of the Star Wars Battlefront collection, which I find kind of crazy. It was interesting they didn't add it into the port of the game officially before this, but hey, we have it now, so it all ends well. Alright, so I'm going to give you a little bonus one, because it is a difference, but it's not a massive difference. So basically, if you go on to Battlefront 2 and you go on to Mos Eisley, and you pick, whichever, the Galactic or the Clone Wars, basically it's just, each side versus each side. But if you go into Battlefront 1 and you do Galactic, it's the same. But if you go on to the Separatist side of things, the Clone Wars, and you go to the Separatists, In the back of spawn, an AAT spawns, an armored assault tank. This is the only time it spawns on this map in both games, and I just found it kind of cool, and it might have been something that you totally forgot about yourself. So yeah, if you're playing on this map on Clone Wars, you definitely want to be on the side with the armored assault tank, because it's pretty damn overpowered indeed. It does take a bit of skill to get it through the, the roads and so forth, and through the buildings without getting stuck, but overall you can just go through this entire map with this and start blasting the enemy, which is fantastic. For my 7th and final difference between Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 originally are the voice actors used. You might not know this, or you might know it, but if you haven't listened here to the voices in Battlefront 1 of the Clone Troopers, they are actually voiced by Temuera Morrison, which added even more to the game's immersion, in my opinion.
Destroy the Techno-Union ships. Master Windu has joined the battle. Count Dooku has entered the battlefield. Follow me. Spread out. Right away. Disperse.
Now we will go on to Battlefront 2, and, well, it sounds similar, and it sounds very good. And this was actually done by another voice actor called David Boat.
Take out that super! We've got droids! We've got Droideka. For the Republic! Check your fire!
I think both are good voices for the Clone Troopers, and I think David Boat did a good job, but I would have loved it if the second Battlefront game went with Temuera Morrison, as he is a living legend. That is a man I would sit down with a coffee and have a nice long chat about his career. Maybe one day, if I get the chance, I will take that opportunity. Possible interview, maybe. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave some comments, leave a like to support the channel, and if you really enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button as well, as it really helps my channel out even more. I appreciate all the support from you. The Star Wars community has been brilliant so far, and of course, I'll see you in another video. Cheerio, everyone!